What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you are watching on the replay, you're going to want to go ahead and skip to about the 10-minute or so mark because we're going to do some interactive stuff and some giveaways that if you're watching in the future, you are no longer eligible for, and it's not very entertaining. So the content will start at about 10 minutes. But if you're watching this on the replay and not here live, what the hell's wrong with you? We do a lot of great fun stuff here live, and you should be here live so you can win contests and get exclusives and do things like that. So the way to make sure that you don't miss out live is by clicking the subscribe button and the notification bell. So we are going to get started in just a second. We're going to do a giveaway, assuming anybody shows up, and then we will get into it. Mubasher says, hi, Chris. Hello, Mubasher. While we're doing that, well, actually, I'll hold off on that for a minute. So if somebody can let me know how the picture and sound quality is, though, that'd be great, because I talk to myself throughout the day, but I don't want to do that live. That's embarrassing when that happens. So Pardeep says, good to see you again. Good to see you as well. While we're getting... Monare says, Randy is literally my PR guy. Brock says, looks great. While we're waiting on some more folks to show up and someone to follow my request and let me know how the picture and sound quality is, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and talk a little bit about my program that's launching today, Agency Arbitrage Mastery. It's basically, it's $27 for the next, well, let me refresh the page. I had it open all morning. It's $27 for today. And you get some free software with it. You get some training on how to quickly get leads and how to upsell them and how to get other people to do the work for you. So it literally gives you everything you have to start or scale an agency. And it's $27. Like, what have you got to lose? So check that out at superstarseo.com/AAM. And you'll be taken to this page and you'll just click add to cart and then you'll purchase it. So Chris, you may be getting this a lot, but what happened to the nose? Nothing happened. It's a breathe right strip. It just helps you get more oxygen per breath, and it's been very beneficial health-wise. So Brock says $27 is a steal. Brock is correct. It's if I had to put this out, I could easily charge, $300, $400, $500, and it will eventually go to $297 after the launch is over. But for now, $27. That's I know that's like less than one person at TGI Fridays. So check that out. That's not even a joke. That is less than one person cost at TGI Fridays. Like if you get like a burger and like a beer or something, it's going to be like $50.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just like, it was like crazy to go out and anywhere.
Loud Egg, which I believe is Joe Markasic, whose name I probably did not pronounce correct, says I need one of those at night. Yeah, I started wearing them at night, and like my resting heart rate dropped by like 4 points on average per night just from getting more oxygen. So I wear it throughout the day too, and I think eventually I'm going to go to like the doctor and see if I have like a deviated something, so it's something they can fix where I don't have to wear a sticker on my face. But it's it helps, so I do it.
Yeah, you need to get one, and make them so like they're custom, so it would say like legit on your nose or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. This brand I'm wearing is called Hostage Tape, which is a really cool name. I think they also make the mouth cover where you can like wear that while you sleep, so you breathe through your nose. But I think that would give me nightmares, so I don't do that.
Yeah. Couldn't you just use some duct tape?
What's that?
Couldn't you just use some duct tape?
That too, like I don't get why you need to like this. I get is a little more difficult to cut just right, but like for your mouth, just use a duct tape.
Yeah.
Joe says he needs a full mask at this point. Yeah, I know someone else that has what do you call it, sleep apnea, and they have the same problem.
Oh man.
Yeah. So all right, well, let's go ahead and get our contest going. So let's do shop.legit.com.
Dude, congrats on the by the way, on the launch of the agency arbitrage. That is awesome.
Thank you. We've been working on it for a long time, and it's going well so far. So I'm happy about that. So we're here at shop.legit.com, our out-of-date merch store. The merch itself is not out of date, but the logo is, and I just haven't gotten time to get that fixed yet. But you can, well, in a second, I'm going to ask you to type in something, and this is new. I haven't even seen this.
Look at that. I
Yeah.
like that.
But we got some, t-shirts and some license plates, and don't get the phone cover because I don't think they have any current models. But sweatshirts, golf balls, whatever you want. So we'll give away something here in a minute, and that's the end of the sentence. I was going to say something else, but I can't think of what I was going to say. So let me go ahead and bring up the software, and we're going to choose this live stream. Let me make sure that I'm showing the right screen. Okay. And let's say PR is going to be our keyword today. So just go ahead and type in PR in the chat.
Nice and easy, right?
Yeah, exactly. And
I don't know if you can see. I got my legit. I got my legit shirt, my classic legit mug that I've had.
You got a clock too, right? Like I know it's
I do have a clock as well. I forgot I had this T-shirt, and I'm like, I think I have a T-shirt.
Yeah, that's an old school one.
Yeah,
that's 2 logos ago.
two logos ago. That's me. I'm old school.
I still wear those sometimes too, just as a throwback, as the kids probably don't say. If you are in a Facebook group and you're showing up as Facebook user, you're going to need to authorize StreamYard. I don't know why you have to do this every time, but it's not my software. So I'm sure it's some sort of API thing, but just go to streamyard.com/Facebook and it's like 2 clicks and then you'll be able to participate. But if you don't, you won't be able to win. Unfortunately, I wish I could make it not have to do that, but you have to deal with the world the way it is before you can make the world the way it should be.
Yeah, that was deep. I had to think about that.
I got that from a book. That's not. No, I mean I paraphrased it from a book. From well, I won't say what the book is because it's controversial, but I think it's wise.
Oh, yeah, nice.
All right, we got about 3 minutes left. Probably a little less than that. This is the part of the live stream where I complain that the Windows 11 clock doesn't show you the seconds. So I don't know exactly how much we have left. But, apparently Microsoft thought we didn't need to know that kind of precision.
I guess not. Very good. I'm looking at the name scrolling by, saying hey to folks.
It's Stoicism Strategist, which I believe is Mubashir. We got Mohammed, J.O. We got Zaz. We got Mubashir. Yeah, Nafiz. Pretty good turnout considering I didn't promote this as heavily as I usually do. That's nothing against Randy, by the way. It's just that I had already sent a few emails about our launch today, and I didn't want to piss people off too bad.
Yeah, it's all right. The launch is out. That is, I was kind of shocked to see what you were selling that for, to be honest with you. That is, you could have really gone much more with that. That is such an incredible deal.
Yeah, I bought a lot of programs in the beginning that helped me out a lot, and they were really expensive.
Yeah.
So I try to keep that in mind. Like for the program that really got me going was called Source Phoenix, and it was $997. And I had to pay for it on PayPal credit at the time because I couldn't afford it. But so I want to give people that same opportunity, but I also don't want them to go into crippling debt to do it. So
right.
Yash says PR. What's up, Yash? All right, that's enough. Let's go ahead and pick our winner.
All right. Good luck, everybody.
And the winner is Hey Rahat. Congratulations, Rahat. What you're going to
Yeah.
do is you're going to come over here to shop.legit.com and choose whatever it is that you would like, whether it's a t-shirt or the hooded blanket's been very popular. Well, I say very popular. It's been very popular with giveaways. Nobody actually buys any of this stuff. And then you're just going to choose what you want, and then you're going to message Legit Support, tell them that you won, tell them what you want, tell them your mailing address, and if it's a piece of clothing, you need to tell them what size that you need as well, and they will get that right out to you. So congratulations, Rahat. So
Right.
let's
Grab
get.
the classic tee.
You know what's funny is it's because the dots are green and they're showing transparent.
Yeah. Yeah, the classic. I got my classic legit mug here as well.
Awesome.
It's good
All
stuff.
right. All right. Let's get into it. If you're watching on the replay, welcome back. To everyone else, thanks for joining us. I'm joined today by Randy Rhode. I say that because I apparently fucked it up on the thumbnail and had to change. Randy is somebody I've known for a long time, and in addition to running a successful SEO agency, he's really gotten down PR, right? Meaning press releases, public relations, and so on. So he's going to talk to us a bit about that today. But before we do that, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your origin story, as it were?
Well, it was many years ago. Origin story. That's good. So, digital marketing is like my third career, I guess, at this point. So, I started. I went to grad school, had my master's in English, and then after grad school, I went to go work. Got recruited to go work in retail, and so I ended up managing a bunch of retail stores for a few national retailers. You might even remember one of these guys, Chris Egghead? Do you remember Egghead back
I
in the
think so.
day?
Yeah.
They are now only online, called Newegg.
Yeah.
But years ago, they used to have retail stores, and I ran those. And then shut them all down as we moved to only online business. Um, and then kind of my second career, as I moved from that, I went into education services, started my own company doing a bunch of great education services, working with kids in inner city school districts. And it was kind of through that I actually ended up starting playing around with digital marketing, because it was back in 2008. I'm like, I need to make a website for a new venture that we were doing, and I needed to do some paid campaigns. And so I started dabbling into that. And then uh, about a year into that, some friends of mine who are in the industry as well said, "Hey, can you do that for us?" So I started doing it for them as well. And then I don't know, and it kind of grew from there. I sold that company, and then I went into essentially kind of doing uh, the PPC stuff, doing a little more in the SEO stuff, and decided, I think it was in 2016 maybe, just to kind of go out and launch the agency as a whole. Started doing that. 17, started thinking about press releases, which was a great timing, because then in 2018, so we started kind of building out stuff. And then 2018, in like February, you launched Legit, which was awesome. And so I don't know, I always wonder where I was in the number of people who joined Legit as a
I can
as
tell you
a
actually.
as a seller, because I know I joined probably within the first 2 weeks, if not sooner.
Yeah,
Um,
I can tell you.
uh, but so I started was on Legit and started building our PR business there. And I will say, Chris, Legit has always been kind of aside from our own website, but Legit has always been our only platform that I've been pitched a number of times, even just recently, actually, to come and list. Like, I'm legit, man. I am only legit. I like the exclusivity of like, no, I'm only on legit.
I do
Um,
like that.
yeah, yeah. And so anyway, so I joined Legit, and we've been doing press releases and doing other kinds of services, but we really have nailed what we're always learning. So I want to say I nailed PR then, but we really expanded and doubled down on our press release business. We've invested a lot in our reporting aspects and our distribution channels along with that. And so we've been real real heavy in the PR side. And we've just grown from there. And so it's been an exciting ride to kind of grow and with Legit. And launching your latest course, Chris, I remember back in the day, I think I was also in what did you call your training program? Was it Superstar SEO training? Training? Yeah. I did some of that stuff with you guys. Yeah, good, good days. Good days.
Yeah, I remember you when I had a course before that called Consulting Mastery, and I remember you kept asking me for like a light version of that, so because there was like you didn't need some of it, but you still wanted the other parts, and I eventually launched that because you could ask me so many times. So. And by the way, you signed up on February 14th of 2018, and we launched on February 7th.
There we go. See, yeah, yeah.
Great. So why did you decide, why PR? Because like, I have no idea how to do a press release. I've always just bought them from other people. Like, what made that interest you?
So a couple of things. So one, so I have my master's in English, and so it was always like writing and content was always, it's just a natural fit for me. Um, but as well, when I was started looking around and thinking about, what it is that we could offer beyond, because I've always had this belief, and I think, I don't know, Chris, you and I probably talked about this as well at some point over the years, but I think you've got to have and should have kind of multiple streams of revenue.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of smart. So, if you only have just your agency or your clients on the agency side, that can kind of come and go. And like the pandemic, guys who are running their agencies, some agencies just plain shut down. I mean,
Yeah.
we took a haircut there for a month or so with clients as they like pulled back.
You took a haircut?
I took a haircut. I did. Yeah. Smart ass. Yeah. So having if we were only agency, that'd be a challenge. And so we were looking like, well, what other kinds of things could we do, further leveraging some of the other kinds of things that we have and tools and such. And so we started, looking at what kind of services we might be able to provide out in the marketplace, and that other SEO agencies might want to utilize. And so after kind of a little exploration around that, I kind of landed on press releases at that time because it seemed like, well, it was a good offer. Not a lot of people were doing it as a service, doing some white labeling stuff, those kinds of things. And so we just kind of started digging into that to be able to provide that as a service and put it out there. And then Legit rolled up and like, hey, great, let's do it on Legit. And now it's been pretty awesome. But I really enjoy the press release because I love seeing like some immediate results. It's kind of fun to see some that satisfaction of getting something out there for a client, seeing their story out in print, online, seeing it pull up when you're doing a search on their brand or their information. And so, I think that that's always been exciting, and generally get good results. And press releases have been just a stalwart for doing, just about anything. Whether you're want to do national campaign or national SEO, whether you've got local SEO, you can tailor it to that very specifically. If you're doing affiliate or e-com, you can cater PRs to that as well and have an impact. So, I don't know, our business and our service just continues to grow. So I love PRs. It's awesome.
Awesome. G, we got a couple of fire emojis. Get Joe says RR is the best at PR. You should use that as a slogan. That sounds like a campaign button.
That's nice. Yeah. Hey, Joe, why don't you put that in some kind of a artwork for me? And well, by the way, if you don't know, Joe is really a pretty fabulous artist. So
I did know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Finally able to catch your. I think this is Ross. Ross says, "Hi guys, I'm glad you could be here, Ross." So tell me about PR and how did you go about learning how to do it? Like, I still have no clue how that works. Like, I know I give people my information and they put it on these news sites. Like, obviously you don't have to tell us how to do it, but like, how did you go about learning how to do it?
Dude, well, essentially a lot of research, and talking with folks. Now, I went and talked with folks who are kind of in what you would say the standard public relations type of in that industry, and really trying to get a better understanding, like, well, how do you do it? What is the, what is the article? How are you crafting any of that? And then where and how to kind of do the placements. Did a lot of research online and looking at some of the bigger distribution networks that are out there, and what they were doing. So really, I just kind of became a student, kind of similar, with SEO. I'm like, hey, if I really want to get better at this, I got to be a good student at it. And, to this day, I swear I consume just a ton of information. I'm always wanting to hear, oh, just in this last, I don't know, several weeks, Chris, you've had some really awesome people on this channel. Like you had Goldie on. Man, that guy's like just a wealth. So I'm always looking. I've always been a student at heart. So that's how I just kind of jumped in head first into PRs, kind of the same way. Just online research, went out and talked to people, practiced writing PRs, really kind of broke down what the basic concepts or construct of a PR is, and went from there.
How do you balance? You talked about learning a lot. How do you balance that with like implementing? Because there's a temptation when there's such great information out there to consume and never use. And I'm guilty of that too. But how do you balance that? Like, how do you make sure that you're actually doing the stuff that you're learning?
Yeah, that's funny because, I'm a big one as well. I'm like, oh, I know what to do, and then don't do it. Right. Uh, for me, it was easier because I really wanted to grow that business and be good at it and be known to be good at it. So, as I went out and I studied and I just realized I needed to implement, I needed to take action if I actually was going to say, hey, I'm good at doing this. And that was just a hurdle. It wasn't that difficult really to get over. And I think probably a lot of people are that way, though. I'll give them credit for it anyway. If they're like, hey, I want to be good at this, and so they dig in, they learn, and then they exercise it or put it into action. Now it's the other things where like, as Chris knows, because Chris and I are working together through a coaching mentor relationship, and there are things like, oh, I know I should be doing this, and then I don't. And like Chris has been great to kind of kick me in the ass a little bit, like, just get off of your ass and go do this. And it's been great because I'm like, oh my gosh, every week that goes by, I'm like, this has been really good.
It's good to hear. So let's take a step back because some people
Yeah.
may not know what a press release even is. So
Yeah.
can you maybe just like tell us what it is and why it's beneficial for you? Because we're
Yeah.
not talking about like an old school press release where like you do something in your community and then you put it in the local newspaper. It's not
Right.
exactly that,
Right.
although it's like kind of a descendant of that. So can you just kind of
Yes.
tell us what it is?
So I do have kind of a presentation that I've done in the past with some slides. Can I share or
Yeah,
no?
definitely.
I don't
Just
know. How do
what you
I?
do is you click. Let me stop sharing
I'm
here.
gonna do present, right?
Yep, and then I have
Um,
to add it to the stage.
okay, and I want this is what I want to present. So I don't know how I hit
It'll ask you
that.
like it'll show you the different screens. So
All right, let me move my camera. Screen sharing is easier with two monitors. Sharing works best with. Okay, great. Don't do that again. Share screen. I'm going to share which tab. I'm going to do this tab. There we go. Boom. There we are. How's that? You
perfect.
got that? I'm going to move this tab over here. Is it still on there?
Yes, it is.
Ah, good. So let me put this in a slideshow format and then I'll just roll through this. Boom. So you asked a good question because actually it is one of my first. I was like, oh, I should do this slide. So why do a PR? What's the purpose of it? And I think, as you look, it's like, hey, because you can build brand authority, build brand trust, which I think is even more critical now than what it was a year ago or 3 years ago or whenever, as we have, in this world of AI search and who knows, right now, Google platform is so crazy with search and what you find in search. But if you build your brand up and you have a strong brand profile, I, I, you are going to float up to the top of any kind of search, associating your brand with whatever your particular niche is, whether it's home services, whether it's digital marketing, or whether you're a doctor, whatever. But as you associate your brand with your niche and get it out there across authoritative sites, you will win in the search game. Building trust. I always think that, there's numbers that are out there, something like 92, 93% of all consumers are going to research online first before they make a purchase. And what an incredible trust signal if they go and they do an online research and find Randy's garage door repair, and there in the first page, generally one of the top 2 3 um, uh, organic spots on the first page is going to be your press release about your brand, something, and whatever that story was within that article. That is a fabulous trust signal. So if I saw Randy's garage door repair and there was a story about Randy's in the APNews, I'd be like, wow, that must be really something, because not too many other people have had that before. So it's a great trust signal to send and really help, I think, on conversions or grabbing leads, certainly. Then there's the whole back end of it, right, from an SEO standpoint. So it's a fabulous way to build a great amount of authoritative referring domains, pointing up to your site. You can do map embeds, and then this is fabulous, obviously, for local. So embed your map, put your NAP along with your map. And so you get this great citation across all of these new sites as well. You can link build links inside your article, linking with your map URL. So another great way to send a signal to Google for local rankings. So we would craft the article, say, Randy's garage door repair, and I'm out here in Cleveland. And so we'll craft an article with a lot of geo-relevancy with it, and signals, talk about uh, you know, best garage door repair in Cleveland, and we might take that long tail keyword and link with one of the multiple kinds of map links that are out there. You can link reviews to it as well, image links. So there's a lot of different ways and important things that you can do, and why you would want to do a press release. And kind of in that second box really is about how to get started. What it is, establish your goals. What is it that you want to try to accomplish? Think about your anchor plan as well. Because you don't want to do exact match anchors, right, to whatever your page are. Branded anchors are fine. Absolutely, do your brand to your homepage. That's terrific. Write down your URL plan. Then again, how you're linking those to get your map information pulled together. Write your article. Generally, we like to see about a 600 to 700 word article. We find that creates the best opportunity for placements, in that if you get too long, the distribution pickups tend to fall off, and if it's too short, you don't get as many. So, kind of in that 600 to 700 word is a good sweet spot, is what we've found over the years. And then, by the way, I get asked this a lot. Well, how many links can I put in my press release? And just as a rule of thumb, kind of what we use as a guideline is, we like to do about one link per 100 words. So, and thinking if you've got a 600 or so word press release, you're looking at about 5, 6, 7 links, somewhere around in there. You don't have to have that many. We do some PRs with only one link. So it really is about what your strategy is. And that's kind of back to the first bullet point there. What's your objective? What is it that you want to accomplish with that? And then another thing that you'd want to do is load that PR article as a blog on your site. And if you put the article on your site ahead of time, then you can actually even link to that article from your press release, and then, which is another great way to add some juice to a specific article. But when you do that, think about this though, Chris, as well. When you do that, so you've got this article on your website, and then you've got it out there as a press release. So you have all of these referring domains pointing to that article on your website, the press release article. Then at any point, you can go back and change up the anchors and the links on that article on your website to be whatever you want it to be. So now you can kind of help manipulate what that juice is doing and how that's flowing, by having that little step, that little secret. So I think that's
That's a great tip.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I will tell you, over the years, learned that one with Terry Samuels, actually. So I'll give him credit on like, hey, yes, and we've employed that over the years with many folks. So
We had Terry on a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, Terry's great. And I'm going to plug SEO Spring Training. It's coming up in a month. Go if you have not gone, go check it out. It's first week of April. A lot of fun down in Scottsdale. Great warm weather. Love it. So goals of a PR, boom, build referring domains, build trust and authority, get organic rankings, rank branded GBPs, right, for lead gen key terms. You will get some traffic as well. I always try to downplay the traffic because people think, well, I'm going to get hundreds or thousands of traffic coming through on because of my press releases. And that really, you will get some, but not hundreds and thousands of new users coming to your site. So I always try to caution, don't.
It's not the point of it.
Exactly. That's not the main feature. You will get some, but not like, wow, the earth is shaking kind of thing. So this is, I threw this in, actually, I just threw this in just this morning. I'm like, well, I should probably just show some. So this is, I had a client, they actually did a nice video testimonial for us. And she was like, wow, she had a brand new site. We did a PR for back in December. And we did the PR, you can see like in the December 11th, and then boom, just shot up in her ranking for her specific key term that we were doing. And as general, you have got the ebbs and flows, went down and then boom, went right back up and is still climbing. So, but that's just the impact of PRs. That's the only thing that she's ever done to her site at this point, or at that point, I should say. I'm sure she's done more since, but that's kind of some things that you can begin to expect and see when you're doing an appropriate press release and anchored appropriately and targeted with your keywords appropriately. And as I said, you're going to get some really strong, authoritative sites referring domains. I mean, you look at the DR on some of these news sites that you can get through your press release distributions, and it's like, wow. And when you break it down like on a cost per link, it is literally like a, a buck maybe or less per link. And like, you get Digital Journal, it's an 87 DR. And if you were to get even our very basic standard press release for I think we're selling it for 97 bucks here on Legit. To get an 87, plus you're going to get like 400 other links. I mean, so when you're breaking it down to a cost, what's this going to cost on a per link basis? It's like pennies, right? So I always think that's fine. So this is a little thing, I put this in here. It's like, and what I always say is, people always ask, well, what do I do next? So I do a press release, then what? And I put this presentation together that I had at a conference, because it is a great question of like what to do and how to do. And this is one of the very first things I would say is like, you do a press release and you can interlink your press releases. So, I try to, and what we do with our own SEO clients as well, our agency clients, is that we do a press release every month. And each client has their very specific objective that we're trying to nail down with them. And an e-com site, as an example, what you could do is hit a press release. Say if it was your first press release, do a press release as a branded on your homepage, and then the successive PRs could be each one for each of your category pages, so that you can begin to drive traffic to the category pages. Maybe highlight one or two products out of that, but you really are trying to drive referring domains and ranking your category pages, and trying to drive. But then you can link, right? So you can, second PR comes out and I want to pull some of the links from my first PR and have them as relative anchors in the second PR. So that when the second PR comes out, it's acting as tier 2 links for the first PR. So you really are like stacking these PRs so that they're constantly giving juice right up through the channel. And eventually, obviously, going right into your money page, wherever it is that your original anchors are going to. So a very effective strategy on building out. And as well, it's a great way to keep links active. I mean, we have links that are out there that are, some of these are 2020, right? I mean, some of these things are 3-4 years old. Here's one on an AP. That one is 21 was when we published that. So there's just so many different things that you can do, I think, with your press release and what to do after your press release as well. So I don't know. I was going to, can I share one more thing about what to do with press releases,
Yeah,
Chris?
go for it. We got plenty of time.
Hey, I will share this. I love this guy. So FT rings. This is what we don't build these because I'm like, why do I need to build FT rings? This guy, I can't remember what the heck his name is now.
Fahad?
Uh, but if you, this is his on his thumbnail actually for his service. He is fabulous. He builds all of our FD rings, delivers them. If there's ever an issue, he fixes them. But we'll build these rings out and we'll spin PRs through them. So when we do a PR, boom, it all goes out through these FD rings as a way to build continual links to the PRs themselves. And because we're always trying to think, how do we send signals to the news sites? So that we want them to know, hey, this story is important. It's getting linked to from other sources and is getting traffic from other sources. Because my theory is, every news site has a very Gemini guy. There you go. Every news site has their own defined life cycle for their articles. I mean, that is just the nature of press releases. And so, like Digital Journal, I think their defined life cycle is about 9 months. But what I've seen and what we can do is if we are building kind of these signals to the article in Digital Journal that says, hey, no, this story is still getting links, it's getting some traffic. At a certain point, I think it flips a switch on their automated process that says, well, let's keep this story up past the 9 months. And I think what they do then is that they probably go like either on a 6 or another 9-month cycle. And so, if I can boost it and keep generating kind of those signals, we can just keep these PR links up forever, I think. But I did want to show something here is what we have done that I think has become real. This is a real interesting, we're doing this as a service actually on Legit, but we do this with PRs. And I think we did one of these for you a few weeks ago, Chris.
You did, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll take your press release article, we'll craft an evergreen podcast episode, and then we'll publish that through the News Guy podcast. And so you end up having your story with the show notes, with a link in the show notes. I have this set to play. I'm not going to do it because I'm not trusting that it's actually going to play. um, over the StreamYard or not. But you can put your links, we'll build your links, whatever it is that you want, right into the show notes. And we distribute our podcast out. I think it's like 10 or 12 different platforms at the moment. And about 6 to 8 of those are going to be do follow active links from those podcast platforms. And again, these podcast platforms are 80 plus kind of DADR value to them. And to give you an idea, so we did, a PR, we ran through and here's the story, boom, that we did. This is for actually Terry's agency, Solterra. And then we ran it through our podcast platform. So when we did the search, Solterra SEO company, there's the news article. And then right under it is bam, is the podcast for it. So it's another great way when we're talking about building brand authority to get your brand to dominate and control another slot on the organic rank, which I think was just terrific. Plus, you're getting the link for it. So I think that's a multi-win. You're getting your story out there. You're getting the link from the podcast platform. Plus, because of the you're kind of doing a little bit of parasite SEO. You're getting the strength of that podcast platform to help dominate another spot on local search. So, again, I just thought that was very, very fun. And you can see some of the other things that we've done with that. So, as I say, podcast. You can do all kinds of things.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. I mean, I've known it because I've talked to you about it, but I didn't know there were so many different ways you could go about using it. Because most people just, I guess, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't most people just, they do it and they get the links and they never think about it again?
Meaning the press release?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I even kind of scrolled through. I missed a lot of stuff, but think you can roll them through, link builders. So take I like RankerX, but roll through your PR, and then you can take your links and then drop them into, like pull some of your handful of your best links and run them through like a link builder, like RankerX. Don't go crazy. Like don't go send like 1 million GSA links to it, because that will just kill it. The news sites will pull the thing down if it's unrealistic. But you can send a few hundred to APNews. It's not going to pull it down, and it just sends that signal like, hey, there's something interesting in here. So you can do some auto link building things. You can do. We send. When we do the report, you get a cloud report, so you can just a link and you can go and then boom, here it is on a site. But then from there, you can download a PDF or an Excel file. We do a lot with either of those devices, but you can take your PDF report and then I don't know, there's like 300 different PDF hosting platforms out there. Go put it up on several of these freebies that'll give you a live PDF. So when you pull our PDF report out, the links are going to be live in there. So you can drop them onto one of those platforms. And it's another way to send juice to all of those news links. You can send them out through kind of similar to the IFTY, but send them all out through Web 2.0s. So you can do them on Web 2.0 submissions like that. What else do we do? Oh, so we also like to build entity stacks. And we have our own, this is one of the things that we do on the back end for all of our press releases, regardless of what package you were to get from us, because I couldn't figure out a way to like, well, we'll do this one and not this one. Didn't make sense. So we just do them for everybody. But we have a number of Google entity stacks and cloud stacks that we then distribute your story plus links onto these stacks. So each one kind of has a little bit of a different purpose or different twist to it. But it's another way to create additional links, tier 2 links to your news sites. Give them the signal, go juice them. You can go do a lot of different things, but somebody could do that if you're an agency and you're like, yeah, I want to have press releases as part of our strategy with our clients. You could build your own cloud stack, have it just kind of a generic, kind of like a news stack, so to speak. And then it doesn't matter what stories you put up there, you're going to get the value, the strength of like a cloud stack, or do it with a Google entity stack. Cloud stacks are great. I'm a big fan of cloud stacks. So, but yeah, so there's so many different things that you can do. I think it always boils down to this. So when you have an APNews or a Yahoo link, you have to think about it and look at it as it's another very strong tier 1 link. And what are you going to do with those kind of links? Generally, you're going to do some tiered linking with them and build them up, keep them active. And you have to have that same mentality and approach with press releases, with your news site links. So, all right. Boom. I'm going to stop sharing.
Wow. That was a ton to really take in. Remind me after I have an idea for you. But
all right. I love it, man. I love your ideas because it generally does well for me.
If anybody has any questions, go ahead and drop those in. I'm going to take one that I see here. This is from Alex Raiden. He said, I always think of Mortal Kombat when I see his name, by the way, Raiden. Hopefully there's some other nerds out there that got that. I've been working while watching, so not sure if this has been mentioned already, but a great way you can use press releases if you want to get a little bit more aggressive with your link building. It looks natural. If the homepage gets a lot of PR, that you would get naturally more buckling to blog articles and other places on the site. So it helps with creating that picture. We've had great success using it that way. So for example, on a new site that hasn't had many links, if you run a PR to the homepage, then within that week later, we'll start building backlinks a little more aggressively than we normally would to the other subpages. So I think what Alex is saying is that you can use it as a way to almost like a link foundation. So you can start using the more powerful, the PBNs, the guest edits more aggressively. Do you agree with that?
Well, yeah. Oh, absolutely. So many of the folks watching have heard or know Ted Kabitis, Quora, fabulous piece of software. And what he does, he grabs his PRs from us. What he does is if he's launching a new site, he will do a press release with us and we'll push that out there even before he takes the site live. So he's got news site links already pointing to his homepage even before the site is up and active. And then, like a day or within a few days after the PR is out, he'll turn it on. And then he's immediately has links coming into the site already. For Ted, he's like, it gives me almost instant index and it gives me almost immediate ranking capability of whatever it is that his objective was for that site. So, Alex is right on it. PRs are fabulous foundational links to start your sites out with.
Great. Rahat says, how do you reach out to journalists? So I think he's thinking it more works kind of like, what do you call it? Like Harrow, and it's not quite the same thing, but you don't have to give away the whole method. But how do you get to where you have permission to post to these sites?
So we have our news partners, right? And so and we essentially have built out a network to be able to distribute out to news journalists, and we're constantly adding to our network. So, right now we have just over 900, I think, is our kind of our network of news sites at this point that we can distribute out to. So, and it's a constant kind of an outreach for that. I will tell you, Australia, I've been trying to set up a strong network in Australia, and that has been just, I don't know, that has been a challenge, but yeah. Okay. Even though we do a lot of PRs for folks in Australia, but we just have not been able to set up a very good network of news sites there anyway. But
well, let me ask you this then: would it be worth? It's probably not worth it for a lot of people to try to do this as part of their business, right? Like, you're gonna have to really go all in on it. Like, not just using them, but like being a press release distributor themselves is probably more than most people need to really be taking on, right?
Well, I will. Yeah, there is a hurdle, a cost hurdle, and if you look at our delivery system and our reporting system, so yeah, it's not cost prohibitive, but it is the barrier to entry, I would say, is fairly high. It's the same as like, oh, I'm sure I could go start a platform like Legit, but how does it make sense for me to do that? Both from a cost and headache and development. No, I don't know.
Everybody I've seen try to do that since we started has failed. So
yeah, and PR distribution, when you're thinking about it now, I mean, it's gotten more competitive. I think
we have a lot of people sign up with it now.
Yeah. So it's more challenging.
Got a question here.
But I will say that's one of the reasons why as well, kind of dovetails in a little bit of what you were saying or what you had asked earlier about. So how do you take action on the things that you learn? And it's kind of our approach as well with our service, with our PRs is like, listen, it is a competitive world and a competitive arena. And if you are not constantly learning new stuff, seeking out new things, and trying to implement them, test them, do they work, and then implement them as either an addition to your service or just as a bonus. I think you're going to kind of get lost in a competitive environment. And it's the stuff on the back end, what we do with all of our PRs. A lot of distribution channels aren't doing that, because it's an investment. You're not necessarily getting additional revenue for it. We do it because I know people are more satisfied with the end result of their press release. So I know we'll get repeat business. But yeah, you just got to keep working, keep plugging away at this stuff.
Well, all right. We only have a few minutes left. One other thing I wanted to ask you about is it's not exactly press release, but do you do any like high end publications like New York Weekly or I don't know Men's Journal or Maxim? I've been in all those before, and those were powerful links and helpful. Do you
Yeah.
do anything with those?
Yeah. I think I saw your spread in Maxim, by the way.
I was actually.
The towel was nicely. Yes, we do those as well. And actually, we just started doing those featured article placements. Actually, we just put it up probably in the last month or so on Legit, even as a service. So,
I guess tell us
and
a little bit about why those are. What's good about those?
Yeah, well, they're different than a press release because we can make this article really about you and much more than just, what's the newsworthy story, right? So if I want to talk about Chris Walker and the entrepreneur Chris Walker, it's a featured article, and so it gives us a lot more latitude on what we can write and talk about in a featured article like that. But yeah, we can do placements on a lot of big, high value, well-known publications out there. I think right now we've boosted our inventory of doing those very specific publications. We're 650, something like that, that we're doing. And the cost ranges in all of those, right? So that's why it's a little difficult. Yeah, that's why it's a little difficult to kind of do it kind of as a service on Legit, because I really need to let's have a conversation. What's your objective? What's your niche that you want to target? What's your target audience? And then I can say, well, here's 6 publications that can kind of meet that. And they're all going to have a different price point to them. So it's a bit challenging from that standpoint. But
Yeah, what that can also help with, and not as much as it used to, but it can help you get social media verified. So like now most of the platforms you can just fucking pay them, which I spent 25 grand trying to get Facebook verified, and I did. And then like a month later they started offering it where you can just pay for it. But
they're also good for knowledge panel, right? So if you want to get your knowledge panel,
and there's still a few platforms that like do that. Like TikTok is still very difficult to get verified on, for example. So that kind of press can help with that a lot too.
Yep.
So, and it sounds like it's stupid to put all that time and effort just to get a little check next to your name. You'd be surprised how much authority that carries with people.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's a strange world that we live in, that people will pay that much for a check mark icon. But
yes.
It works. So, all right, we're almost out of time. Anything else you want to tell us about?
Oh man, that's a hard. I know baseball season's around the corner. Go Cubs.
You're in Cleveland, the home of one loser team, and you root for another loser team.
No, what? No, 2016 World Series champs. Come on.
Yeah, for the first time in 112 years or something.
Hey, they did it. Woo. Rounded the bases.
Yeah. Against Cleveland, actually.
Yes, I know it.
Great game, great series, actually.
Yeah.
So, All right, cool. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up there. If you want to check you out, they can go to legit.com/38digitalmarket or 38digitalmarket.com, I believe is your agency
That's
site.
right. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check either of those out. And before we wrap up, I've got to shill my own stuff one more time. So let me
Oh
find
yeah.
find that. Where is it? There it is. So 28 or $27 today. Comes with the software, comes with the training, it comes with everything you need to start or grow your agency. You'll see some testimonials. There are some OTOs for those of you that always ask that, but I think it's a great offer. I try to keep the price reasonable. I try to give a lot of value. If you're watching this, you probably already understand that. But so let me put that on the screen. That is, just go to superstarseo.com/AAM, Agency Arbitrage Mastery. It is going to go up every day of the launch, and then after the launch, it's going to be 10x more expensive than it is now. So check it out today. $27. Like I said, you can spend that much at McDonald's, or you can potentially turn a profit on it. So
yes,
do whatever you want. But I hope that you trust me enough to know that there's some good value there. So check that out. I think that's enough of that. So I am back next week. I'm going to, who do I have on next week? Let me give a quick go check my programming schedule, but we have some great guests coming up in the future. I know who they are. I just can't remember who is next. So I'm trying to find the list here. And while we're doing that, there's a question there from Alex. It's a pretty long one.
Server maybe about the FT mostly and new series, but I think, do I worry about the FT ring leaving a footprint? I don't, because I think you kind of answered it. The news sites are so big that not really concerned about getting links from similar sources. The APNews is not going to sit out there and filter these things out. So I'm not I'm not as concerned really about a footprint like that, and especially if your main site and what it is that you're driving and whether they're the cloud stacks or the entities, if they all look like they're news sites as well, and that they're distributing the stories, it looks, it's kind of relative niche, right? It's still a news site-ish kind of an approach to it. So
awesome. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and stop there. Next week on the 5th, I have Tim Schmidt on. Tim is a longtime affiliate marketer and just internet marketer in general. Is a great SEO. Is a great guy. That'll be a lot of fun. And then on the 12th, I have Manik Bhan from Search Atlas on, who's going to be talking about the tool that you should replace Ahrefs with, because they don't give a fuck about you. So we will go ahead and wrap it up there. Thank you, Randy, for a very, very interesting presentation that I got a lot from. I didn't know a lot of that stuff. So
thanks, buddy.
We will see you guys again. And, thank you for everyone for being here. I know you could have been anywhere else in the world, but you chose to spend some time here, and I will never take that for granted. So thank you. And last but not least, figure out what you want out of life and go out and get it, because you owe it to yourself and you owe it to the world. I'll see you again soon. Peace.